And welcome back. Our next guest is a writer, publisher, and editor residing right here in New York City. And she's also the founder and coordinator of Women in Comics Collective International. And she joins us to speak about her organization's work in supporting women and non-gender conforming folks in the comic book industry and so much more. So please welcome to the show, Regina L. Sawyer. Regina, welcome.
Hi, Dr. Bob. How are you?
How are you? I see all the little fuzzy things behind you.
Yeah, I have a lot of fuzzy things.
You,
I'm a collector.
you collect them?
Yeah, I do. It's a habit. It's a bad
Yeah.
habit.
I know a couple of people who collect them. What's your favorite back there?
My favorite, it might be, well, I have a couple of things that were like made by people, but I
Uh-huh.
do have, I have a Grogu
Yeah.
from The Mandalorian, and I have a bottle of hot sauce.
Yeah. Can't go
You
wrong
can't
with a
get by
bottle of hot
that.
sauce, that's for sure.
You can't. You can't. But I'm really thrilled to be here.
Yeah.
I'm going to mirror Tasha and just say that I'm a huge fan. I listen to WBLS every day.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking it all out, as I so often say. Regina,
Yeah.
how did
Yeah.
you get started in this growing up in New York City? What inspired your passion as a writer? And what influenced your passion to become a comic
Well,
book writer?
my family was a very nerdy family. My father would read the Sunday Funnies to me from cover to cover,
Uh,
even Kathy. Um, he always wondered why I want to know about a 35-year-old woman who was depressed.
uh,
But I always told him, Daddy, read it to me. I wanna know all the things. It,
yeah.
it doesn't matter. Just read it to me. My brother and I, we would watch The Incredible Hulk, The Greatest American Hero,
Uh-huh.
things of that nature, and it just really inspired me, story wise. I wanted to write stories. And then at a certain point, when I got a little bit older, my brother introduced me to comics,
Uh-huh.
to like Marvel and DC comics, and I started to collect the books. And then I started collecting comic book cards, and it just became a, a thing similar to my stuffed animals, but even greater. So as I got older, I decided that this was something that I wanted to do, as a career.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I did go to school for something else. I studied to be a chef right here in New York City. So
Oh.
that's where my degrees are. But I loved writing. And one day I was in a comic book shop and I was chatting with a friend of mine, and a gentleman overheard me, and he had a comic book company and he needed help with it. So I worked with him for about a year. I learned how to edit comics. I learned how to write comics, and I published my first comic book myself in 2009 with my own company, Lock It Down Productions.
How did that feel?
Oh, it felt great. I was crying when I had the first book in my hand. There's nothing like that first book, smelling it, flipping
Yeah.
through the pages. It's such an accomplishment. So
I know,
I
that's
was
right.
over the moon with that.
And since then, you've written for other companies like Time Magazine
Yes,
and
I've written
so.
for Time Magazine. I've written for DC Comics. I've written for Marvel Comics and
Uh,
a few other comics out there as well.
what were some of your favorite comic books growing up?
The X-Men.
The X
Oh, the X-Men
Men,
had my
Superman, the X Men, and there's a bunch of
I mean,
stuff out
X-Men
there.
really had my heart. I was a fan of like Batman and Superman, like in the movies.
Yeah.
That's how I knew them, like the original Christopher Reeve Superman and the original Michael Keaton Batman. But in terms of collecting the books, it was X-Men because it was so unique. It had one of the first black female comic book characters I had ever seen, and that's
Yeah.
Storm. So I will probably forever be an X-Men girl. I love the X-Men.
Yeah. There was something I was thumbing through a while ago, and it said Superman had something deep within our history who helped change the course of something. You got to look that up.
Okay.
I don't want to
Okay, I
get too
will.
deeply involved in that right now, but you got to look that
I will.
up.
I will.
Yeah.
I definitely
So,
will.
so that's good. So you have anything coming up that we should know about or get involved in?
Absolutely. So I have an organization, Women in Comics Collective International, WINK for short,
Uh huh.
and we're hosting our annual WINK Creative Conference with a focus on Pride Fest. So we're celebrating Pride this month. We're
Uh
going to
huh.
have queer, LGBTQ plus artists and writers, creators, At the event, we're doing panel discussions,
Mm-hmm.
workshops. We'll have an artist market, and we're doing it at Flushing Town Hall in Flushing, Queens on June 29th from 10 to 5. And it's a
June
free event.
29th.
Yes.
I'm writing it
And
down.
it's
June
free to the public.
29th from 3 to 5.
No, 10 to 5.
10 in the morning. Okay.
Yes, 10 in the morning. 10 in the morning.
You know, I deal with the a lot of nighttime stuff too.
I know you
But
do.
sometimes I go around the clock and morning turns to night and so on and so forth. But
Listen,
what should we
understood.
expect on that date?
Well, we're going to have folks coming to talk about their work in the industry, how to stay in the industry, like what their longevity has been,
Uh-huh.
how to get into the industry. Also, professional tools, how to write comics, how to edit comics.
Yeah.
We also will have workshops on wellness, how to keep your mind right in the multimedia industry, how to stay focused, how to stay at peace with yourself and what you're doing so that you can continue to be creative and bring creative work to the industry.
That's very, very important because there's so many things that are out there. I mean, this is the information
Yeah.
age, and sometimes we're overwhelmed. So we have to just try to narrow things down and continue to focus on what we want to do
Yes,
in this
indeed.
area of expertise. What motivated you to establish the Women in Comic Collective International?
Well, we actually got our start in the Bronx. I was invited to host a Women in Comics panel in
Uh,
2012, and all those women on the panel that we had were women of color. And for the audience and for the women themselves, I mean, they were surprised to see so many women of color working in this industry. And I spoke to a few of them after the panel, and they were saying like, we really like doing this. Like we don't get invited to things of this nature. Like
yeah.
it's a rarity. So I said, well, that sucks. Like that's not a good thing. Like there should be more events. And I said to them, well, we should do more things. So from there, we were asked to do more panel discussions, and then we were asked to do workshops, and then we were asked to do art shows, and then we had a conference,
Yeah.
a convention for many years, and now we have a conference. Uh, so it was organic, because people wanted to see us. They wanted to see melanated women, especially Black women, but melanated women as a whole.
Yeah.
And then as the organization grew, some of our members came out as non-binary and gender non-conforming, and so we opened up our membership because we wanted people to feel at ease and at peace and feel
Mm.
like they had an organization they can turn to. And so here we are, 12 years later.
12 years in. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I mean, it felt good the first time you did it, right? But a little sticky because we didn't exactly know what was around the corner. But now you know
Yeah.
for the most part. But you're still
For the
trying to
most part.
trying to get it better and better, trying to make it better and better. Now you're a chef, so what else do you have cooking up? You have food there? You can have food there?
Sometimes we do for our events. Every once in a while, I
Uh-huh.
will cook, or I'll have it catered. Like when we
Yeah,
do our art shows, I have that
that's
catered. I also used to do wine education and spirit education. So I'll have some company. Sometimes it's a local company will come and do a tasting at our art shows,
yeah,
or I'll pick select wines and things to be at the art show, along
yeah.
with like wonderful like food and meat platters, things of that nature.
Beautiful. So you're still involved in cooking up things. But right
Yes,
now
I
you're
am.
cooking with a pen and
I'm still
paper.
in the kitchen. Yes.
How can more people get involved in what you're doing?
Sure. They can go to
Uh-huh.
www.womenincomicscollective.org, and all of our information is there. We also have applications if folks are interested in joining. We also have a magazine called Wink Magazine, and that's full of art and poetry and stories. And folks can download the book there. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
And we also have hard copies of full volumes of all of those issues all together. So folks can check that out. Also,
Uh-huh.
all of our events are there. Also, our social media is there. But if anyone wants to follow us on social media, I can give you the handle now. It's at Wink NYC. So that's WINC NYC.
Uh-huh.
And that's all of the handles: Instagram, Twitter, now X, Facebook. You can find us there.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Before we go, what's one piece of advice that you would give to creatives wanting to get involved in what you're doing?
Oh my goodness. Well, one, to work on your craft. If you like to write, write as much as possible. Just for yourself. It doesn't have to go anywhere. It doesn't have to be eloquent. Just write something. Also, get into a meditative practice. You're going to need it. There's a lot of stress. There's a
Yeah.
lot of stress. There's a lot of stress. But there's a lot of beauty as well. So self-care, and then also work on your craft.
Yeah. And anything that you want to do in life, you have to be passionate about it. But find out
Exactly.
what that is, and you'll feel it, and you'll know it, and you'll say to yourself, what? They're going to pay me for this? I love doing
Right.
this. So if
That's
you're getting
right.
paid for something that you love doing, that's like, whoa, that's a big bonus right there. And then stick
It
with it,
is.
because when you stick with something long enough, something always happens. But make sure it's positive.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us, Regine.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
All right. And we'll see you again. You're always welcome to come back, all right? And let us know more about what's going on with the conference and everything else, all right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Women in Comics. Regine L. Sawyer, founder, Women in Comics Collective International. We'll take a break. We'll come back and hit you with some more coming up next on Open.